As promised, I'm going to be delving more into video game reviews, and so I picked up The Evil Within because I'm a big fan of horror. I do like survival horror games when they're done well. I am a huge fan of the Resident Evil games, some of them not so much, and we are not going to talk about the Resident Evil movies. In this game, you play as a detective named Sebastian who is investigating... He doesn't even know what he's investigating. He discovers some dead bodies with his partner, then the ground starts to cave underneath him and the entire city splits in half, and all of a sudden there's zombies walking around and a strange guy who's able to reappear and disappear whenever he wants. The thing that I really like about The Evil Within is that it is not just a zombie shoot-'em-up game. There is a definite psychological aspect to it. Psychological horror films are my favorite type of horror films, so the fact that this game has a lot of mind-bending suspense to it, I really enjoyed that aspect of this game. Also, the game has a great sense of visual storytelling. There's a lot that's cinematic about this game. For one, it's a 235 aspect ratio instead of 185 like most games, so it does feel more cinematic than a lot of games. But about that visual storytelling, there was one aspect of the game that really stuck out to me. I walked into a room, this wasn't important, it wasn't a cutscene, but there was a dead body on the ground. Now there's a lot of zombified bodies on the ground throughout this game, but this one was human. There were bullet holes all over the wall, things were turned over, and then a table was turned on its side. Just that one little area told you everything you needed to know, that this guy had a last stand in this room and everyone took him out and he wasn't able to make it. This was not an imperative part of the game. You weren't supposed to know anything about this guy. He was just a dead body. But walking into that room and seeing that visual storytelling is the kind of stuff you do get in the production design of this game that is terrific. You're walking through dark corridors with a lantern and there's all this dust floating around. It just makes you feel like you're walking through the ash of humanity. Also really cool about this game is when you upgrade yourself, you visit some otherworldly place and then you put on this helmet and you upgrade your abilities through electric shock therapy. It's kind of crazy. And that's my best way to describe this game. It's different. It's really weird, and it will put you off kilter if you get into it. The controls are easy enough to learn. It's a fun enough game to play. It is more hard than you might think, and also a lot longer than I thought it was going to be. It took me a lot longer to complete this game than I thought I would. You have just enough ammo, you know, like it's not like you're scrounging for things and you're like dying every 2 seconds because you're running out of bullets. If you are conservative with what you find, you'll be fine in the game, and that's one of the things I like about it, because there is combat in the game. It's not just hiding from zombies and hoping they don't kill you. That being said, the main character is boring as hell. The only way you can learn anything about him is by picking up these documents that tell a story of his past through journal entries. And if you don't read them, you don't know anything about him. In fact, most of the characters in the game are really boring, especially this boy Leslie that you're supposed to care about, who is like a patient. He's going nuts and you follow him around and find him some places and you're supposed to care about him, but he just gets annoying after a while. And there are moments in the game that are like unreasonably hard. There's this guy with a safe head and all this barbed wire around him. He took me forever. And there is a frickin' spider grudge ring girl who won't die. I set that thing on fire like 60 times. She won't die. There are also moments when it's hard to tell when a cutscene ends and the actual game begins. So because of that, I didn't realize I could control my character and died quite often during a few parts, because the entire game is filmed in 235 aspect ratio, as I said, where in most games when a cutscene starts, maybe the 235 will start, and then as soon as you have gameplay control again, it'll go back to 185, which tells you, okay, now I can control my character. There were a lot of times in this game where a cutscene ends and then you immediately have to run away from something. Well, I didn't even realize I could do that yet, and I died, and then I realized, oh, I have control of my character after like 20 times of dying. There are also times where the textures on the graphics appear to be loading for like a split second every time a shot is cut. And then you go to the next shot and you see like certain things in the background kind of load into existence. But the difficulty of the box head man was made completely fine when the trophy I got for defeating him was called "What's in the Box?" That made everything better. And it also told me what this game is trying to do. It's almost tributing so many awesome horror movies and horror games that we've played before. I enjoyed The Evil Within quite a bit. It has a great atmosphere, as I said. You're walking through a strange mental hospital and TVs are just showing static. You're walking through a creepy mansion. You can hear a girl laughing in the background. Just really creepy stuff that can unsettle you like that. It can get a little too difficult sometimes and frustrating. Sometimes the camera gets stuck behind things and none of the characters are interesting at all. But when you play a game, you want to have some fun. And overall, I really enjoyed playing The Evil Within. I think it's worth your time, but I do have to say that I know this game was very anticipated for a lot of people. It really wasn't for me. I didn't realize until I actually picked it up that so many people were excited about this game. So I think maybe if you were like, oh my gosh, this is going to be the best horror video game ever made, you'll be disappointed. I was just looking forward to a fun, scary, suspenseful game, and I got that. So I'm going to give The Evil Within an 8 out of 10. As promised, guys, I will continue to do more video game reviews because a lot of you guys are really enjoying it, and I like to talk about games. I've been a gamer my whole life. So thanks as always for watching, guys, and if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.